Welcome back, everybody, to the Seattle Sonics MyNBA series here on NBA 2K22. Today we will conclude season number 1. We went through the All-Star break and the first 10 games after the All-Star break in the last episode, in which we only won 1. And our Sonics are just not playing good basketball. We now have the worst record in the NBA with 10 games to go. And obviously, this team is not particularly good. We have been officially eliminated from possibly even getting a play-in spot. So at this point here in the final 10 games, it's really just trying to see the young guys progress and figuring out where we fall in the draft lottery. Currently, 4 teams have clinched at least play-in spots in the West. And then the Eastern Conference, as you'll see, is really close. Nobody in the East has clinched yet, and I think there are like 6 or 7 teams all within a few games of each other. So the rest of the league is very close and interesting. We will figure out how these conferences resolve in the season recap, which will be next episode. But today we are focused on our Sonics, trying to finish off the season strong, and we do have our final prospect profile of the season, in which we will go over the power forwards and centers in this year's draft class. If there is one gigantic need on this team, it is to add size. We are not a particularly big team. Our starting center is 6'8", and outside of Bol, there's not really any true traditional large bigs on this team, and Bol is an unrestricted free agent in the offseason. So we have to add size in the offseason, and this draft class gives us a great shot to do so because there is a lot of talent at both power forward and center, and we're going to have an opportunity to make the most of that, not just with our top pick, but possibly with some of our other selections. The consensus top player in this year's draft class, regardless of position, is Buzz Wigginton Jr. out of Michigan. We briefly touched on him in the last episode, but we're really going to take a deeper dive into him now. Wigginton has the ceiling of a legitimate number 1 option on a championship contending team. A unicorn type of talent. This kid stands at 6'11" with a ridiculously long wingspan. He can stretch the floor. He can handle the ball. Very versatile defender. Outstanding post defender. Great athleticism. I mean, this kid just off the charts. Great playmaker as well. This kid has everything you look for. He's a little bit inconsistent, a little bit inefficient, scoring the ball at times, but other than that, he is close to a perfect prospect, and I would be shocked as of now if he was not the number 1 overall pick. Isaki McDaniels out of Hawaii is very interesting. He pretty much runs the Hawaii offense. Great ball handler, really good offensive player. He's different in a lot of ways to Buzz Wigginton in the fact that McDaniels is a more versatile scorer, but he doesn't necessarily bring that same defensive value that a guy like Buzz Wigginton brings. But McDaniels is still a legit top 10 prospect, and if the Sonics really fall in the draft lottery, I think they could look at him. One of the biggest sleepers and possible draft risers in this class is Apollo Steele out of Creighton. He's currently projected to be an early second rounder, but I think this kid has lottery talent. And to be quite frank, I would be surprised if he was not a top 20 pick. I fully expect him to really rise up the draft board these next few months as we get closer to the draft itself. Knockdown three-point shooter, not great defensively, but very good athleticism, very good scorer. And I think he could be a really good find in the late first round. Dice Moore out of Duke is a kid I really like. This is a 4-year senior who was once a top recruit for the Blue Devils. Didn't really pan out early in his career, but he has developed into one of the most well-rounded players in college basketball and is back on the radars for NBA teams. Really high-floored player and someone who I think a team like the Sonics should absolutely consider in the second round. Now let's talk about the center position, which I think has even more talent than power forward. The top center in this year's draft class goes by the name of Bouna Chukwumereji from Senegal. He plays for Villanova, but I want to take a look at his film from the FIBA Under-18 World Cup because it's pretty remarkable. This kid is 7'6" and has the lateral quickness of a guard. In this game against France, he took on the second-ranked center in the draft class, Theodore Chugwa II, who's bringing the ball up here, and Bouna Chukwumereji just outruns him. I mean, men who are 7'6" should not be able to physically do that. Although Chukwumereji doesn't really have the shot or the defensive versatility you'd like for a big man in the modern NBA, it really does not matter because this guy is 7'6" and just dominates down low and has unbelievable athleticism. Let's talk about the aforementioned Theodore Chugwa II, who himself is a really good prospect, even though he is 8 inches shorter, standing at 6'10". Other than this game against Senegal, there's really not a whole lot to dislike about this kid. Comes from France. You may notice he has these giant scratches on his neck. That's because when he was 15 years old, he fought a bear, and he won the fight. Now, he did get those permanent marks, but other than that, this kid beat up a bear. That just shows the toughness that he has. Really good defender down low. Really impressive athlete as well. And his jump shot is developing. It's not great, but it's not awful either. Has some similarities to Evan Mobley, but isn't really as good of a playmaker or as polished. Evan Creed out of Iowa is a really unique prospect for the late first round. One of the best passing centers to come out of a draft class in a while. And when you look at centers, you look for someone who can defend down low, who can grab boards, who can make plays offensively inside, and who can shoot the ball. But Creed's best attribute is his passing ability, and his playmaking is second to none. He is third in the Big Ten in assists, and is one of the best passers regardless of position in this draft class. But he might not be the best center in that Big Ten conference as we take a look at Obe Uche out of Illinois. Obe Uche stands at 7'3" and is just a dominant force down low. He's projected to go in the late first round, but I think his talent is a lottery pick, to be truthfully honest. This kid is a machine down low. He will punish opposing defenders. Again, not the most versatile of defenders. Doesn't really have a great jump shot, but it doesn't really matter when you have his size and brute force down low. One of the more unique centers in this draft class is Shannon Singleton out of Oklahoma State. He is a stretch 5 who can light you up from deep. Although his shooting attributes are a little bit low, jump shooting is his big strength, and he has taken a lot of strides there this season. He has not had a playmaker like Cade Cunningham defeating the ball, so he has had to create his own shot and has really excelled in doing so. I think he's a guy who could really be a solid offensive player off an NBA bench. Needs to improve defensively, but he can get you buckets in bunches. The final player we're going to be looking at is Graham Bouchard out of North Carolina. Bouchard is projected to go in the late second round, but don't get it twisted. He is a first-round talent and should absolutely not be the 60th pick in the draft. He should go way earlier. He's a little bit more raw, but he's a dominant defender down low. I don't ever think he's going to be a great offensive player, but has phenomenal athleticism, phenomenal shot blocking ability. So there you go. We have now gone through the entire Season 1 draft class through prospect profiles. And now that we've seen the entire draft class, let's talk about some mock drafts real quick. We are currently projected to have the number 1 pick, and Draft Express has us selecting Buzz Wigington Jr. out of Michigan. Unsurprising. Now, if we do keep the worst record in the league, there's only a 14% chance we will get the top pick with the draft lottery. But if we do, there's a good shot Wigington would be the selection. Remember, we also had the Los Angeles Lakers first-round pick, and this mock draft has us selecting Evan Creed out of Iowa, who we just talked about earlier, the playmaking center. And then in the second round, they have us selecting the combo guard out of Murray State, Darius Winston, which would be insanely good value. 2K also has us getting Buzz Wigington at number 1. They have DJ Taylor out of Oklahoma going second. That would really surprise me. We didn't talk about him in the Wings prospect profile, but maybe we should have if he's going to be considered for the second overall pick. With our other first rounder, they gave us Darius Winston, which, again, ridiculously good value. I think Winston's a top 20 player in this year's draft class. And if he falls to one of those later Sonics picks at 31 or 33, Seattle's going to take a long, hard look at him because that would be a really solid selection. And then in round 2, they have the Sonics getting Obe Uche out of Illinois. A draft with Wigington, Winston, and Uche would be great. NBA.com has us going a little bit off the rails, though, with Derek Gilmore out of Arizona. He is a power forward who we didn't even go over today. I don't think this kid is going to be a lottery pick. I think he's a fine player, but we're not going to pick him number 1, I can tell you that. They also have DJ Taylor going second and Buzz Wigington going 5th, which makes no sense. So NBA.com has completely lost their minds, in my opinion. I mean, I would be totally shocked if Derek Gilmore and DJ Taylor were the top 2 selections. That would really surprise me. They have us getting Apollo Steele with our other first-round pick. We talked about him earlier. And then Marco Tessitore, a slashing wing out of Italy, in the second round. Not a bad selection there. So that'll conclude the prospect profile. Now let's talk about the current Sonics team, and I have made a slight change for rotation. I want to start Jaden Springer for the final 10 games of the season. I think in limited action, he's been pretty good this year, so I want to see what he can do with more minutes. RJ Hampton will return to the bench. We already played against Oklahoma City in a game this year, but I kind of wanted to play against them because it is the Thunder returning to Seattle, and I figured for the storylines, that'd be a good game to choose from. In the 7 games we simulated, we went 1-6. Pretty standard for us. We did beat Houston by 1. Cam Reddish with 20. It seems like he plays really well and wins. He also had 5 steals in that game. Kelly Oubre with 13 as well. We still have the worst record in the league, only by a game. But no matter what, we will have either the best lottery odds or the second best lottery odds. We will not get past Toronto. So either we'll finish worst or second to worst. So let's get into this game here against Oklahoma City. Their return to Seattle after moving to OKC. And even though this is a meaningless game for the Sonics, their 79th game of the year when the team is long out of the playoff picture, it is a full crowd in Seattle tonight. They want to show their support against the team who traded on this city. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander opens up the game with a nice shot as it's 6-2. Xavier Tillman with the fadeaway. Nice shot for Tillman as it is an 8-4 game. I'm curious to see how hard these players fight with all the fans in attendance. As there's killer Cam Reddish for 3. Reddish with an early 5 points. It's now 8-7 as Josh Giddey, the 6th overall pick, heaves it up at the buzzer. Air ball. Jordan Poole with great defense. And Poole proceeds to miss for 3 on the next possession, but it doesn't matter as Xavier Tillman doing some glass cleaning down low. He gets the putback to put the Seattle Sonics up by 1. I know we're only 3 minutes in, but this Sonics team does look like they're fighting. They look like they want to win this game. Maybe not on that play as SGA throws up the lob for Isaiah Roby, 10-9. Gilgeous-Alexander inside, trying to post and toast down low on Jordan Poole. And SGA has, unsurprisingly, been really tough to stop offensively. 12-9 now. Springer in the corner for Jordan Poole, who sinks the triple, and we're tied at 12. Gilgeous-Alexander swatted away at the rim, and that'll be a backcourt against Dort. Kelly Oubre Jr. with the denial, as we got a little 2-man game going on between Bol and Cam Reddish. Reddish eventually lets it fly, and it's good. Great passing from Reddish and Bol. Those two have really developed a nice chemistry this season. It's a 1-point game. Hampton, tough shot inside. Darius Bazley with the flop. He will get up, but a nice layup from RJ Hampton. That'll make it a 3-point Seattle lead. Now only a 1-point game. Tray ball for Kelly Oubre Jr. Sonics up by 2 scores. 18-22. Kenrich Williams inside for Bazley. He gets it out for Lou against Dort, who gets the 3. He answers right back with a tray ball, and it's back to a 1-point game. Ball, no good. Kelly Oubre with the rebound. Ever since the injury to Josh Hart, Oubre's been really impressive as an offensive rebounder. 21-24. Malik Beasley at the buzzer. Bang! I can't make the Malik Beasley joke anymore. Somebody in the channel survey did not like it. 23-24. What a block by Alexei Pokusevski. And then not too long later, he would intercept the pass from Boston. Great defensive possession there from Alexei Pokusevski. Here's Ayo Dosunmu. Tough shot inside, and it's good. The rookie point guard out of Illinois will make it a 4-point game. The full court shot from RJ Hampton off the mark. That'll do it for the first quarter. 24-28. Sonics lead as we enter into the second. Derek Favors drives by Springer with ease. That's a mismatch, and you're not going to see Springer on Favors too often, but he was on that play. That's an and 1 for Cam Reddish. SGA is the one calling for the foul. After sort of the slow start for the Seattle offense, they've been really good pretty much for the past quarter. SGA darts by Jordan Poole, who flipped his hips a little bit too late, and Gilgeous-Alexander will make him pay. Jordan Poole misses the shot, and Josh Giddey tips it in. So Poole, as you take a look at the replay, misses it, but that was Josh Giddey who tipped it into his own net. So the Sonics get the points there somehow. 33-37, Malik Beasley hits the 3 after some miscommunication by the Seattle defense, and the Sonics in response call timeout as Oklahoma City brings to within 1. 36-38, Sonics with the basketball. BJ Boston in the corner, gonna let it fly. Brandon Boston Jr., the rookie out of Kentucky, hits the three. Not too long later, Boston to Winslow. Back to Boston. Bang! B.J. Boston with back-to-back threes, and it's now 36-44. Boston again sinks the line too, and he's hot. B.J. Boston's career high entering this game was 9, and he just got 8 points within the span of a minute. Pokuševski kind of heaves up a prayer. It somehow falls, 39-46. Sonics up by a nice 7 points after the nice little run by Boston. Zion Dosunmu misses, grabs his own rebound. Good work by Dosunmu doing the dirty work. And it's the young guys who are really playing well in this game for the Sonics. Hampton for Dosunmu, line 2, and he hits it. Ayo Dosunmu doing a lot of the little things tonight, really playing good ball. Not a whole lot of time left in the first half. B.J. Boston at the buzzer. It's good! B.J. Boston, what a quarter! He has 11 within the span of about 3 minutes. And keep in mind, his career high entering the day was 9. A remarkable stretch there from B.J. Boston, showing why he was once a prized high school recruit. 44-53 as we start the second half, now 46-53. Look at that move by Jaden Springer inside for the layup. 48-57 now. Poole, tough pass for Reddish. Tough shot and it falls. Good shot by Cam Reddish. Seattle Sonics up by 11 as they try to win 2 and 3. Reddish wide open for 3, nothing but net. Cam Reddish with 16 points, and the Sonics lead by 14. Isaiah Roby lays down the Irish hammer, and the Sonics will call a timeout in response. 50-62. Oubre posting on Roby, no good. Jordan Poole with the rebound. Poole doing a little bit of everything tonight. 9 points, 5 boards, 3 assists. He's been very active in a number of different ways, which is great to see. Gilgeous-Alexander hits the tough floater. Good defense by Tillman. But SGA pretty much outbodied Cam Payne on that play. Nothing Cam Payne can do since he's far shorter. But he does run past SGA on that possession for the layup. 56-68. Poole runs by Giddey for the slam. Jordan Poole going upstairs where Grandma hides for cookies. And it's 56-70. Earlier in the season, the Sonics were up 71-55 against the Thunder. They blew it and lost. Hopefully the Sonics don't see the same fate as Pokuševski hits the dunk. Great pass there by Hampton, and that's an and one for guess who? B.J. Boston, who comes back into the game and picks up right where he left off from the first half. Just remarkable work by him. Boston open for 3. What is happening? B.J. Boston cannot miss. He is 17. Boston, again, open mid-ranger. It's good. B.J. Boston is just on fire right now. He has been unbelievable in this game. 64-80. Beasley blocked by Ayo Dosunmu. Beasley gets it back for Poku. Out to SGA. Not a lot of time left on the shot clock. Gilgeous-Alexander hits the layup. Good defense on that possession by Seattle. You can't really fault them. SGA is just really good at basketball. Ball misses the shot. Grabs the rebound over Beasley. He gets the putback, and it is a 16-point game. Now a 14-point game in favor of the Sonics. Kenrich Williams from half court. No good. A really good third quarter there on both sides of the floor for the Seattle Sonics. As long as they don't blow it, they'll kind of get revenge on Oklahoma City for moving away, I guess. Derek Favors with the nice little lay-in. OKC's not going to stop fighting, though. They're now only down by 10. Dosunmu inside for Tillman. Nice reverse lay-in for Tillman, who is 7-4. As it's now a 10-point game again, 76-86. Kelly Oubre, step back, gonna let it fly! I think he might have learned a thing or two playing in Golden State last year. 78-89. Gilgeous-Alexander getting mean off the screen. SGA continues his unbelievable offensive night. Oubre misses the fadeaway, but Tillman grabs the rebound and the putback. This is one of the very few games that I've played where Xavier Tillman has outplayed Ball, but good for him, I guess. 83-91. Here's Josh Giddey with the layup. Don't look now, but the Thunder are making this a ball game. They are now only down by 6, creeping back in it. Dort, spin move, 3 ball, it's good. And this is a 1-score game. Now it's a 7-point game. Seattle went on a nice little run the following minute. But Cam Payne sags off on Gilgeous-Alexander. And the Oklahoma City Thunder are really back in it. This is anybody's ball game. Josh Giddey now with a great pass for Derek Favors, who gets the dunk. 93-95. Are the Sonics going to blow another lead against OKC? Jordan Poole, big layup. He now has 15 points. The Sonics are going to try to hold on to this lead, but it's only a 1-point game. Nice pump fake by Jaden Springer, and it's a 3-point game with 2 minutes to go. Here's Gilgeous-Alexander, loses control. Jordan Poole with the steal. Sonics on the fast break. Oubre, long midi. It's good. Big shot for Kelly Oubre, and the Sonics are back up by 5. They could maybe ice the game on this possession. Poole with the drive and the finish. Jordan Poole with the slam, and that's going to be your ball game. 98-105. The Seattle Sonics are going to hold on for the win. And, I mean, you've got to give a lot of credit to this team showing a ton of fight. These fans were in it until the end of the game. And I think today, Seattle proved that they're back on the map. I know that's a little bit silly to say. It's game 79 of what has been a really bad regular season. But this is a basketball town. You saw how many people were in attendance for what was a meaningless April regular season game where both of these teams on paper have nothing to play for. But we knew it was a lot more than that. The Seattle fans showed out, and I think the Sonics, if they were not already back, this is like their welcome back to the NBA, kind of. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did score 46, but the rest of the team for OKC really did not do a whole lot. Everybody on our team fought until the end. Really impressed with all the guys. BJ Boston with 19 points in like 7 or 8 minutes. He was insane. So we're going to simulate up to the end of the season, but I do want to give BJ Boston more minutes because he deserves it. So we ended up losing both games against the Clippers, but we did beat Sacramento for our final game of the season, as that brings us into the postseason. And that's going to conclude today's episode. In the next one, we're going to go over awards, stats, standings, playoffs, and then we're going to enter the offseason. We're going to do all of the pre-offseason stuff, including probably the draft lottery, which, of course, we have a lot of infamous memories on the channel about the draft lottery, which usually does not help us, but maybe we get some lottery luck. We do own the top odds for the number 1 pick, so who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky. You'll have to find out next time. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.